Okay, 7 o'clock, we'll call the meeting to order, hopefully we can get on here in a timely manner. I've seen the minutes, is there a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve meeting minutes of June 24th, 2020.
There a motion, is there a second? Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. House Bill 2180, policy adoption and implementation. What that is at every public meeting of any subdivision, starting August 1st, anybody in attendance has the right to comment on anything on the agenda. This is language and parameters for that.
What is up here is what the commissioners have. I took it off of your post, Dan, so
Okay.
this is what the commissioners would have approved back in.
The commissioners approved this, and the state sent out a template, which is so similar. And here's an example. About 4 down, if you read that, Wells County Commissioners, you know, they're limiting 5 speakers per meeting with a limit of 3 minutes each. Okay, you can do things like that within the realm of the legislative law. This entity should have a policy like that also, and that's why it's brought up. So we can revise this, we can just use this one with, you know, obviously we gotta change Wells County Board of Commissioners to Wells County Zoning Board, but.
And I'm a bit, you know, and we're gonna be in a situation where the city's gonna have theirs, the school's gonna have
Yes.
theirs, but I can't be a part of controlling all those things. I'd like to see anything associated or affiliated with the county have some continuity to it.
Right, hey,
So with the wording changes, I would be an advocate for just having this policy.
I'd make a motion to adopt this for the zoning committee, just changing the names from Wells County Board of Commissioners to the zoning board. I
okay,
mean, it is what it is.
And I second.
When I had read through this, it makes sense.
okay. Motion by Warren, seconded by Dan. Any other discussion or questions?
Has this already been adapted by the commission?
Yes.
Okay.
But recently, I mean,
Yeah, it was just in July.
in July,
We used
and
it for the first time
the law
today.
was August 1st, so tonight was the first. We had a commission meeting today, and this is the first time we used it. So, any other discussion on that? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To go on with that, if anybody does want to speak under the public comment, I know there was something in here stating writing down your name or address or that kind of thing. There are pieces of paper in the back for that purpose for tonight.
And I guess what I would do is just engage the audience that's here right now and ask anybody if they wish to do this, because they didn't have a chance to sign up before.
Right. Now that we've adopted this policy, we can ask that. If anybody would want to speak on any agenda item, they certainly may.
Do that before we vote on it or after? We just voted.
Oh yeah, we didn't vote on it yet. Did we vote on it?
I thought we did.
Yeah,
Yeah, we did. We did vote. John, you're messing me up here. You know, and mind you, not a lot of things are going to change as far as that goes. Typically, even in a commissioner's meeting, we'll let people talk if they, you know, want to talk about something on the agenda item. Now you have to allow them,
Well, and,
whether you like it or not.
and this is just for your regular meetings or that kind of thing. Public hearings, they still have the opportunity to speak as
Yes.
every other public hearing that we've had.
Right. Okay, all right. Item 3, discussion of Model D ordinance floodplain management. County Commission adopted this today.
Okay, so
Tammy, come in and explain to Jana.
So, Tammy handed it to the zoning board after it was signed today by the county commission. I have given you all hard copies of it to add to your binders, whatever you have going for you with your zoning stuff. It is available on the wellscountynd.com website for the public consumption. They can print it off of the PDF that I've uploaded there. Otherwise, you can also go to the recorder's office, because as of 11:45, I think this morning, it was recorded with Terry's office. I haven't read through it closely yet, but I wanted to make sure that you guys were familiar with this, because it is an added ordinance that we will be overseeing.
And to add to that, this isn't a new ordinance, it's an updated ordinance based on what, help me out, Dan, or Dan here, based on what the federal guidelines mandated.
I think some of it had to do with FEMA as well.
Well, right, yeah,
Yep.
FEMA, federal, yeah. That's about all I know about it. What are your wishes?
This was just kind of an FYI.
You know, I don't know if we need a motion for this.
No, we
I
don't.
think we
No,
just need
it's
to
just
discuss this, we got her now, whether we like it or not.
Yep, this is
It's
now
just
an
part of
ordinance
our
zoning.
zoning.
Zoning, yes.
Yeah.
And hope we never have to deal with it, in all seriousness, because
Who is the Wells County floodplain administrator?
Emergency manager.
emergency management.
I wonder what the floodplain looks like.
We had an issue with that a few years ago. If you want to build in a floodplain, you have to go and fill out paperwork and get a waiver and things, and it was someone along the James River, where was it? Over by Harvey someplace, that wasn't, yeah. Remember that? No, that's before you maybe.
It's before me, but the bottom line is, if you choose to build there, for all intents and purposes, you're uninsurable.
Correct.
So you gotta understand that, and if you gotta borrow money to do it, I don't think the bank's gonna let you do
No,
that. so.
this is something,
Who is the floodplain map for the county?
Tammy, well, commissioners too, maybe if we get a good record of this deep down in some file someplace. We had that.
Those were distributed, but she's got the real ones.
She's got the real one, Tammy does.
So do you think this only pertains to stuff that's in the floodplain, or is this flooding in general?
No, it really just comes down to places that you're just not gonna be insurable to build there. And if you choose to do that anyway, that's on you.
And she did say that all 36 townships have signed on with this ordinance. And she was talking about talking to, I believe, Sykeston City and maybe Harvey, and if they want to be a part of this, then it would be covered under our county zoning as well.
The townships had something on this? No.
Yeah,
No.
3 years ago or so, 4 years, something like that.
You've had one of these, it was
B.
B,
B.
and now
This
this
is
is
D.
the new one, and we had to adopt this by or before the 14th of November.
But if John's asking, do townships have their own? I don't
No,
think
No,
I would
no,
say-
no.
But you said the township signed
This-
off, and I'm
like,
on the township, I've never seen it.
She, this would've been 3 years, 4 years ago. I don't remember exactly, but
They said
Does
they were
your,
asking.
does your township have your own zoning? Well, you've signed on to the county then.
because there
years
was
ago
something
already.
where they had, she had sent out where you could either be on this or on the county and this, or on your own. And I think that's, because you guys went out to township, didn't you? Or she did, or something. I vaguely remember it.
I thought all the townships have signed on to this.
Yeah,
Even the ones, see, there's certain townships, John,
Right,
that
no,
have
I
their own
understand.
zoning.
Right.
What, 5 of them, or out of the
Four.
36, or 4 out of 36?
I just don't remember seeing something that we had to vote on or something, but I could have missed it too.
But years ago, if you would have signed on with the county for all zoning, you would have never seen it.
Oh, we wouldn't have seen it then.
No, right?
I had no
Well,
idea.
Janice said we did.
I thought they
We
did,
all
but I
signed
don't
off
know.
on it.
There, I was vaguely told things, and then my memory is shot too, so.
Well, that could have been.
That's
many-
fine, I'm
That could
just,
have been
I'm
many
just
years
asking,
ago,
that's fine.
in all reality.
It was already adopted, you say B was already adopted, now we're just working on an updated
It's
version.
an updated version.
Okay. Now I know where I'm at.
Yep, and like I said, this is online, so if anybody wants a copy of it, they can.
And I
get
really
it.
didn't, did anybody look, I don't know the difference between B and D. There has to be some, but some language of some sort. Okay, any other discussions on that? All right, let's get into the meat of the meeting. We have two things to deal with: policies for data centers, battery storage facilities. Data center first. Deanna, you wanna
Okay,
enlighten
so
us?
I went to the Stanley workshop and I sent out what they gave me for information. Williams County has an ordinance, I'm pretty sure I sent that out for you guys to look over. Burley County has their own ordinance, and Montreal County is working on their own ordinance. Again, I did receive copies of all of that, and I know I sent it out as well. I also sent out pictures of the slides because they didn't give me anything other than to take a picture of the slides for you guys for information. And that's all, you know, we saw all of this. So now I guess our biggest thing is to somehow come up with our own, whatever you want, for regulations on data centers. If you want to take one of them and make it your own, I don't feel like we need to start writing our own without somebody much better writer than me
You
being
don't
present.
wanna hire a lawyer, or I don't want to.
Yeah, this is different, obviously, but in the same vein as, I think what we just created for wind, it needs to look like that.
Right,
Whether we're talking about solar, or we're talking about battery, or we're talking about data, all of our stuff should begin to have the same look, anything that's being created. And I know that's way easier said than done, but you can take whichever one of those that exists out there and make it your own, but it needs to look.
yep, and I can
Like
format
this.
it the way it needs to be formatted, that's not a problem, but, you
And
know,
then
when we.
the other thing on top of that, and I'm sorry, but we made certain provisions in there, whether the setback piece or whatever. Consistency should be a theme that we're trying to achieve here.
Right. You know, and, I mean, whatever, you can take whatever counties you want, I'll format it the way it needs to be formatted to follow for us. But you just want to go through the different items and make sure that what is listed there is what you want, or do you want something different? You know, maybe a setback in one, like, for instance, Williams County has a setback where there has to be, I forget if it's, I think it's 3 miles between each data center. Whereas Montreal County is looking at doing data centers all in one area, so it's just affecting that one area so far away from XYZ towns. You know, that kind of thing. So it really is dependent upon what regulations you would consider relevant for Wells County.
I think the setbacks, you know, should be basically the same thing that we just got done talking about.
Right.
In Wells County, I can't imagine that they're not gonna be someplace close to that transmission line because of the power that's going to be required. So that probably narrows down where something like that's going to be. But that said, if we've got a mile setback on wind, I don't know why it wouldn't be a mile setback for this too.
So my question is did anybody look at all of the handouts that I sent out? You know, Burley County had one, Williams County had one. You know, if we could pick one of them and start fresh with our own stuff, that would be tremendously easier for me to write.
Right, but you gotta narrow it down. How about the state? The state has one?
state is very generic, and from what I've been told, you don't necessarily want to use that because it is, like, it's 2 pages long.
No, it's nothing.
Okay. Which kind of surprises me because when it comes, not to dwell on it, come to wind farms, they were pretty extensive.
I think, and I could be completely wrong, but maybe it's a new enough
Right, yeah.
that they don't have something
more.
more sufficient than, like they do with wind towers.
Yeah.
But I do know that I sent out an email with the contact information for public service, or whatever it is in Bismarck for PSC. Is that what
Public
it is?
Service Commission?
Yeah, I did send out information. He said that if you have any questions, he is more than willing to answer them, and he gave us contact information at that Stanley one anyway. So then there was a couple of others that I also listed. They work more on the Minneapolis area, I think it is, or Minnesota area, and they are fairly fluent in data center stuff as well, and battery storage as well, and they'd be open to communication as well.
It's interesting to know that I called both, and this is a while back, called both the auditor in Ellendale and the auditor in Stutzman County. The one in Ellendale, they have a rather large data center. The one in Stutzman is outside of the city of Jamestown, I think is much smaller. Neither one of them have a zoning policy for data centers. Not saying that's the right thing to do, and both of them said, yeah, we're working on it. Well,
Well, I think it hit them before
Yeah.
it's there, and we're just trying to get in front of the game.
Wouldn't they have to have a special use permit first before they started it?
from the state,
You would,
No, from the
no,
county.
you would think, but
you would, based on the zoning policies.
Yeah, I suppose
That's where it comes from.
If it's not listed as a conditional use, they might not need one.
Yeah, they wouldn't need one.
Because we have a list of conditional uses in our,
I can't remember what that
You know, when I read through both, like the Williams and the Burley one, they're both good. I think the Williams one maybe is just a little smaller, not as detailed, but, you know, they have the setbacks in there, and like, you know, concerning Dan's thing there, it's a half-mile setback in Burley and a mile in the other one. So, and I do agree with Dan, if we're gonna have a mile where we kind of set precedents, that's what it should be here also. I mean, I do agree too that it's gonna be, if one does come into our county, it's gonna be along that line. There's only certain areas where it's gonna be feasible to do it, so, you know, I don't think we have to worry about, you know, being close to towns or this or that. It's gonna be more to farmsteads and so forth. But there too, if there's a, put in there, I mean, they can talk, and maybe the farmer's fine with it having closer and they get something from it. You know, but I'm in agreement that if we kind of set that precedence, that's where it should be for all of this.
I know one thing that was mentioned is just that there's some companies that come in that are fly-by-night, not my words, their words, where ownership can go from one to the next, which is why Williams County has this transfer of ownership form, because they have to reapply for their conditional use permit every time that there's a new owner.
before the sale is complete, I suppose.
So that might be,
That happens more than you think. Someone speculatively builds something and then sells it off once it's complete. You know that the Ellendale one, the company that built that is not the company that's using it, that they're leasing out space in there. So, and that's no concern of ours, but to me, this isn't a big thing. I think besides the noise, and I think that's it should be in the policy. You're not gonna have an eyesore, you're not gonna have bad smell, you're not gonna have litter, you know. What's the downside of this coming into the county?
Higher electric
You
bills.
know, we're talking about a 10,000 head hog barn. There's some items there that you need to deal with, but this is really, at least, maybe I'm naive. Besides the sound, I've heard that
Sound is definitely an issue, and then I would say the other side of it, and this is, there's no way to know this for certain, but I think you'll find that most of the folks in Williams County are outraged at their electrical bills because they've had to expand their capacity to provide this, and that costs hundreds of millions of dollars, and who pays for that?
Everybody.
Consumers. So that's probably the area.
That's a huge downside.
Oh, it's absolutely a downside.
The residents end up paying the bills.
And they're gonna pay for their electricity, but we all get to pay a share of that. I'm an Otter Tail customer, you know, that's to me the only thing that
And
is
it's
gonna
huge
cost.
sums of
everybody.
money they're talking about out there too, that is gonna go back to the average consumer, homeowner. And
Well, the question would be, how's he?
And we have-
is it
I
a
mean, we
lot?
have no
Is it-
control
If it's
over that,
5%, I don't know. But if it's, you know, how much is it
You know,
going up?
Not only in my home in Harvey, but the property I have in another state, I get a text seemingly every single day that electricity is gonna be controlled from this time to this time. Which is why we maybe shouldn't be trying to get energy producers out of the way. So, I mean, you're dealing with it regardless.
Right.
reliable energy producers.
Well, I don't care, energy is energy. But
centers aren't energy.
that being said,
Data
we
centers
have to be mindful of that too. And that energy has to come from someplace, whether it comes from North Dakota or whether it comes from Nebraska, it's gotta come from someplace. And it's going to be consumed, whether it's in North Dakota or someplace else. And the electric cooperatives very seldom just are in some little small finite area. There's a few. But they've gotta get their power and they've gotta distribute it, so it's gonna cost money. But that will be a factor. So,
And I've also heard that they favor the northern climate because of the cool.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
very true.
I mean, if you've done any research on data centers and wind energy, all this energy, North Dakota is kind of a hub that people are looking at outside of North Dakota to invest into North Dakota because they think it's a good place.
and what else we got?
Cold
Wide
weather.
open space.
Yeah.
And cold weather.
So just through research I've done, I mean, there's the outside investors are looking at North Dakota for a lot of these things.
We hope for a mild winter, they hope for a really cold one.
Now, Stanley, is that in Williams County?
Montreal.
Now, you went to a meeting in Stanley, now, who was all there now? Or what was it?
It was a Division West workshop, so mainly it was counties in the western portion of the state that are probably more in the know as far as what's actually transpiring in their counties for data centers and this, that, and the other.
There wasn't one particular, who was leading it, I guess, or who was,
It's just Vision West. It's
You wonder, like, who are the speakers, or who
that would have
sponsored it?
been.
Vision West is what, a group of the counties?
It's a group of, I think some of the planning and zoning people put together, and then they have speakers. There was the two from Minnesota. They were the ones who, and then the guy from PSC. Those were the three that really talked about this. The rest of it was talking about housing and lending and this, that, and the other that didn't really apply to Wells County. So I drove there for like an hour and a half's worth of information.
Jan, you were a little disappointed in the whole day. As
Oh,
far
I
as a lot of
was.
it didn't apply to us, right?
Mhm.
But obviously, they're dealing with this, that, and the other when it comes to zoning, because they've got everything in their backyard now.
They are very knowledgeable. I was impressed with, what they're dealing with and how they, like they were talking about man camps and how they had to deal with that kind of thing as well. And I mean, they're very knowledgeable. It's just not everything applies to somebody in central North Dakota.
There's a man camp over at the park right now.
I think of the road issues they have there with all the oil wells and stuff, that, township, road use permits would be a full-time job for
Well,
someone.
they were showing aerials of the man camps, what they looked like before, during, and after, and some of that land just got destroyed.
Well, the western county, like Montreal, following it this winter, they've put a lot more time and energy into this stuff than what like Burley County has. Burley County, they're so consumed with some of their internal affairs that
You think Burley's a lot bigger, you think they would do more?
Well, that's why I was surprised.
Maybe they got more.
When Stutzman had his data center up there, Stutzman County, that's a big county, Jamestown. They didn't have a policy.
Wasn't that put in the township that had their own zoning too, though?
Was that, or was it Ellendale?
No, Allendale doesn't.
Maybe it was, maybe it was. Right, it's outside the city limits.
Yeah, it's north, straight north of town.
Oh, you know where it's at?
Yeah, if you go up Highway 20,
Oh, okay. Is it big or is it?
no, my sister said a lot of people aren't even aware that it's there.
Well, that's a good thing.
I stopped
I
by
mean-
just to see if it was noisy, and I really couldn't hear it, but I was off probably, a couple hundred feet,
Oh, right.
right off the highway.
That's
Now,
not
ask
bad
it.
then.
It wasn't noticeable, but I didn't, like I said.
How big is it,
I don't know, probably a football field?
football field?
Oh, okay. Not like Ellendale's.
But they might be building
Ellendale's is
up.
like a section. Or
No,
something.
this ain't, no.
And multiple buildings.
Maybe 2 foot.
Okay.
I asked the guy what it was appraised at. Okay. Well, he prefaced it by saying, you can't, the real value is all the equipment inside, and you can't value that. This is so, what you value the building at? 22 million. That's a lot of quarters of land.
And that's just the buildings?
Wow, that's what he told me. I'm just reporting what he said. That sounded really high, but.
But to move forward, I
Yeah.
do like this Williams County one. I think maybe what we need to do is, if Janet could put it together and kind of so it looks like ours. I do think too, with the mile setback, we should put a variance in there so it mimics what it says, that, they can apply for a variance, because there might be someone that's willing to have it, within a half mile, if that's what it works out, and they get something for it, it's there, but that wording's kind of the same.
And then we'll go down, if we want to leave it the same, are we going to define a mile setback from what? A structure or a primary residence?
There again, I think we need to remain as consistent.
I
Should we
would-
just
I would
carry
be
it over from the
possible.
wind tower?
Yeah.
one?
Yeah, it should be primary resident and not some grain bin. That could be a structure. Or is a structure.
I guess if you can see this, but this is the one by Jamestown. The size, maybe that's 20 acres, maybe.
Oh, that's
But it's
pretty-
got about 8 little buildings in it.
Okay. How long has that been there?
It's been there 5 years.
Really?
But there's an otter tail thing right next to it.
But I think, if you could put that together, and then we just get it sent out to us so we can
Yep.
Got it, yeah.
fine tune it. But I mean, there's a lot of things that are covered, but just kind of make it.
And there's
So
certain
it fits.
things,
We gotta start somewhere.
Right.
and there's gonna be certain things where, like, we don't have a Wells County engineer, so we'll have to come up with a
Right.
different
There's
version
certain
for
things
that.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we don't need a motion for that, I just need to know what we were going to go off of, and then,
Is that the consensus of everyone? Like Lauren said, to do that?
I will write it up, and probably the end of September or early October, we'll have another meeting on anything that we need to change, and then there'll be a public hearing on it.
All right.
Now, is data and battery storage the